let's take a look at the different kinds of women a father involves in order to reform his son. One morning, when Grisa woke up, he found himself in a horse stable. Just then, a boy named Arshan threw water on him and tried to wake him up, telling him to hurry and get the horses ready or the master would get angry. Grisa had no idea what was going on. Suddenly, a man named Apta arrived, grabbed Grisa, dragged him outside, and started beating him. He shouted, "I told you last night to prepare the horses. Why didn't you do it?" Hearing this, Grisa exploded. "To hell with whatever happened last night. I don't even know you. This is the first time I'm seeing you, and you're treating me like some servant." Just then, the landlord Dmitri and his son Alexei arrived. When Dmitri heard that Grisa had refused to prepare the horses, he ordered Apta to whip him. Whip after whip landed on Grisa. When he finally collapsed to the ground, Dmitri said, "Stop. If he refuses again, beat him once more." Grisa still couldn't understand why he was being punished. Arshan came to him and took him back to the stable. There, Grisa told Arshan, "I need to make a call. If my dad finds out about all of you, you're all done for." Arshan had never heard words like call before. Confused, he said, "Just prepare the horse quietly or you'll get whipped again." At this point, Grisa decided he had to escape. He ran out and shouted to the villagers, "Call the police." But none of them understood what police meant. As he kept running, he realized that this village looked like it belonged to the 18th century, somewhere in old Russia. He desperately tried to escape, but in the end, Apta caught him. Now he was sentenced to death by hanging for trying to run away. Apta and a few others dragged him to the place where he was to be executed. All the villagers gathered to witness the hanging. Just as the noose was about to tighten around Grisa's neck, the landlord's daughter, Aglaya, arrived. She told her father, "Today is my birthday. No prisoner should be executed today." Hearing this, Grisa was pardoned. In his heart, he silently thanked Aglaya. Far above, a soaring eagle watched the scene. But as it flew away toward a house outside the village, we see the eagle wasn't real. It was a drone. Inside the house was a massive setup funded by Grisa's father. He had arranged all this to teach his arrogant son a lesson. Grisa used to be extremely proud and spent his days troubling people. One night, he even took a girl with him and behaved terribly. While they were driving, a traffic cop stopped them. Grisa threw money at the police officer, which made the officer furious. He was arrested and thrown into jail. The next day, Grisa's father came to bail him out. Their family friend, who was a police officer, explained that Grisa had tried to bribe a policeman. After bailing him out, his father scolded him, but Grisa didn't listen. Instead, he lit a cigarette right in front of him. Disappointed, his father walked away and met his friend Annie, who introduced him to a TV producer, a horror movie director who was dangling from ropes during a stunt. He even pretended to cut off one of his fingers to show how his special effects worked. After explaining his problem, Grisa's father asked the director to create a plan to reform his son. A few days later, Grisa saw someone towing away his car. He ran to save it, but someone shot him with a tranquilizer, knocking him unconscious. And now we return to the present. The entire village was a project created to reform Grisa. All the villagers were actors. Hidden cameras and microphones were everywhere, feeding commands to the actors. The sniper was also stationed there to tranquilize Grisa if anything went wrong. Meanwhile, Grisa genuinely believed he had time traveled into the past. All he wanted now was to return to the present. The actors were given scripts for the next scene, and they were ordered not to wear any clothing that looked modern. Alexei, the actor playing the landlord's son, met his girlfriend Lisa, who was in charge of the horses. Meanwhile, day by day, Grisa had started feeling stranger and more exhausted. He was being overworked, sleeping on the ground at night, working in horse stable from early morning, and going into the forest whenever he needed to use the bathroom. When it came to food, he was given awful meals, and for even the smallest mistake, he was whipped. Grisa was completely fed up. One day, he was sitting at the edge of a field when he heard someone crying behind him. He followed the sound and saw that Aglaya was in tears. He asked her why she was crying. Aglaya told him that her father had arranged her marriage to someone else, but she was in love with another man. Hearing this, Grisa casually said, "Don't worry, the old man will die soon anyway. After that, you can keep all the wealth and live happily." Saying this, he walked away. Inside the control room, everyone was closely watching Grisa. They had deliberately sent Aglaya to him, hoping he would soften toward her, fall in love, and eventually change his behavior. But that day, nothing went according to plan. The next day, Grisa stole one of the landlord's chickens and told Arshan to cook it for him. Arshan roasted the chicken, but Grisa ate the whole thing by himself, leaving nothing for poor Arshan, even though Arshan always helped him. The following morning, Apta found out a chicken had been stolen. He lined up all the servants and demanded, "Tell me who stole the chicken. Whoever it is, step forward. Otherwise, I'll take each one of you and whip you 50 times. Then he grabbed Arshan and dragged him away. Grisa just sat there watching. He didn't even try to help Arshan. Later, Arshan showed Grisa the marks on his waist from the whipping, but Grisa didn't care at all. At that moment, Lisa arrived on horseback. As she dismounted, a bit of her modern clothing became visible. invisible. Seeing this, Grisa grew suspicious. His mind started racing. He approached Lisa, trying to check what she was wearing underneath. Just then, some villagers arrived and grabbed him. What Grisa didn't know was that Lisa had hidden her modern clothes in the tall grass just before he saw her. Inside the control room, Grisa's father saw the near mistake and began yelling. He lashed out at the producer. Because of your mistake, Grisa almost found out everything. The entire project could have been ruined, and I can see that he hasn't changed at all. I want to shut this whole thing down. But then news came that Grisa was looking for Lisa to apologize. Lisa's role was supposed to be finished, but Laps, the director, now had a new opportunity. Since Grisa was showing small signs of change, Laps ordered Lisa to go meet him. She took a wooden bucket and walked toward him, telling him to speak from a distance. Grisa looked at her and apologized. He even complimented her beauty. Lisa couldn't help but smile and forgave him. Grisa wanted to talk more, but Lisa told him she couldn't stay and walked away. That night, the village was celebrating a festival. The villagers gathered, and Grisa sat with Arshan. Arshan asked him about the festival. Arshan explained, tonight's tradition says that if a boy spends a night with a girl during the festival, he will spend his entire life with her. Grisa joined the villagers in dancing, and soon Aglaya joined him. As they danced, she opened up to him. She said that the man she was being forced to marry was rich but old, and she didn't want to marry an old man, so she was planning to jump into the lake and end her life. After she left, Grisa immediately went back to talking with Lisa, as if Aglaya meant nothing to him. Grisa told Lisa that he had come here from the future, and that his world was 1,000 years ahead in terms of technology. At first, Lisa ignored him, but when he kept talking, she pretended to listen. Just then, Arshan arrived and said that Lisa was drowning in the lake. Hearing this, Grisa ran toward the lake to save her. He saw Lisa struggling in the water, but she was only pretending to drown. After pulling her out, he brought her back to the village. When the two of them were alone, Aglaya tried to flirt with him, but Grisa avoided her and went to look for Lisa instead. He reached her door, but Lisa shut it immediately. Poor Grisa had wanted to spend the festival night with Lisa, but it didn't happen. When Laps noticed that Grisa was beginning to change because of Lisa, he decided to extend her character's role. But Lisa's boyfriend, Alexei, hated the idea. Lisa explained to him that everyone was here to help make Grisa a better person, and that they were all being paid for the project, so she had no choice but to continue her role. The next day, the story was altered. Alexei was made drunk and shown picking a fight with a city guard. The guards were coming to the village for punishment the following day, but they didn't know what Alexei looked like. To protect his son, Dmitri asked Grisa to take the blame on himself. In return, he promised Grisa freedom, good clothes, and proper food. Grisa agreed. That night, when he finally received good food, he saved some for Arshan and gave it to him. Arshan was happy after eating it. The next morning, Grisa was whipped 100 times in front of everyone. Grisa's father didn't like watching his son suffer, but Annie explained, sometimes a person must go through hardship to truly change. After the punishment ended, Grisa put on the new clothes and went to Dimitri's house to talk about his promised freedom. But Alexei pushed him down and mocked him, saying, how stupid can you be? You really believe we'd set you free? He even spat on him. Grisa stood up in anger, ready to fight back, but in the end, he walked away quietly. Seeing this, Lev and Alexander felt extremely disappointed. They'd hoped Grisa would at least stand up for his own rights. From then on, Grisa worked silently in the stable. He began spending more and more time with Lisa, and they talked endlessly. Slowly, Grisa started falling in love with her. One day, while they were walking together, they noticed the eagle-shaped drone flying above them. Suddenly, it became uncontrollable and flew erratically as if it might crash, but the technician managed to stabilize it and steer it away. To distract Grisa from it, Lisa told him that she had seen that eagle since long ago and believed it was a goddess protecting her. Meanwhile, Alexei and Aglaya were becoming frustrated. Aglaya was angry that her main role had been given to Lisa, and Alexei was upset seeing his girlfriend Lisa spending time with another man. Talking and complaining, the two of them grew closer and ended up getting romantic inside a horse carriage. This part wasn't acting at all. As fate would have it, Grisa and Lisa happened to pass by and saw them. Lisa saw her boyfriend with Aglaya and felt deeply hurt. When Lev heard what had happened, he scolded both Alexei and Aglaya harshly and threw them out in anger. To cheer Lisa up, Grisa decorated the stable with candlelight and prepared a special dinner just for her. He behaved lovingly toward her, and the two talked for a long time. During their conversation, Grisa told her how he had taken Alexei's punishment onto himself but still wasn't given his freedom. He admitted that he had wanted revenge on Alexei at that moment. But suddenly, when he looked into Alexei's face, he saw himself, another arrogant man who never cared about anyone's feelings. Lisa was moved by his honesty, humanity, and tenderness. She leaned in and kissed him, and the two shared a romantic moment together. Meanwhile, Alexander and the entire team watched the scene and were thrilled. They believed that Grisa was finally beginning to understand his mistakes and was truly learning learning the meaning of love. But back in the modern world, chaos broke out. Aglaya gave a televised interview, revealing that Grisa, the only son of a major businessman, had been kidnapped and taken to a secret location where he was being tortured under the guise of acting. After the interview, the police issued an official statement saying that a team would soon investigate the location. Hearing this, Alexander panicked. He told Lev they needed to shut the project down immediately and evacuate everyone. Everyone grew nervous, but Lev insisted that the police would take time to arrive, and they still had enough time for one final scene. He was confident that after this last scene, Grisa would be completely transformed. Meanwhile, Grisa and Lisa were sitting together outside the village, talking. Lisa told him that if, for any reason, they were ever separated, she would always remember him. She knew that once the project ended, she would have to leave Grisa forever, and she wanted to tell him that she had genuinely fallen in love with him. Just then, Arshan arrived and announced that the Mongols had attacked the village, and if the villagers didn't return quickly, the Mongols would burn everything down. Hearing this, Grisa panicked and said they should run away. But when Lisa and Arshan ran toward the village, Grisa hesitated before following behind them. When they reached the village, they saw the Mongol leader ordering his men to seize a beautiful girl from the crowd and take her away. The girl's father tried to save her. He grabbed an axe and fought one of the Mongol warriors. They exchanged fierce blows, and after a long struggle, the warrior publicly beheaded the girl's father. Of course, all of this was staged, meant to awaken Grisa's sense of humanity to its fullest. Afterward, the Mongol leader released the girl, believing the father's sacrifice had earned her freedom. But then he sees Lisa instead. Seeing this, Grisa was terrified. Lisa screamed for Grisa to help her, but he froze in fear and walked away toward the stable instead. He stood there silently, unable to move. Watching the footage, Alexander told Lev that the plan wasn't working. He insisted they shut everything down immediately because the police were about to arrive. Meanwhile, the sniper man was also ready to knock Grisha unconscious. Everything froze for a moment because this was the final decision. But seeing Grisha's silence, Lev had begun to trust him, so he wanted to wait until the last moment to see whether Grisha would go save Lisa or not. He flew the eagle-shaped drone above Grisha to watch his every move. When Grisha saw the eagle, he remembered Lisa telling him that the eagle was his protective goddess. It made him feel as if the goddess also wanted him to go and save Lisa. After that, he went inside, grabbed a wooden stick, mounted a horse, and rode out to rescue her. When he reached the Mongols, he attacked them and then put Lisa on the horse. The two quickly escaped far away from the village. As soon as they left, the police arrived from the other side, pointed guns at everyone, and started searching for Grisha. Since Grisha had already gone far away, Lev, Anya, and Alexander easily convinced the police that a film shoot was happening there, and the police believed them and left. Meanwhile, Grisha and Lisa had traveled very far. When they finally came out of the forest, Grisha was shocked to see a gas station on the side of the road. He could not understand what was happening. Lisa was just about to tell him the truth when Lev's sniper man appeared from behind and shot him, knocking him unconscious. The next scene showed Grisha standing near his car, hearing his dad's voice echoing in his ears. His dad told him that he had been in a coma for the past 3 months. When Grisha asked about the village and Lisa, his parents reacted as if they knew nothing. After this, Grisha tried to return to his old life, but he no longer felt interested in parties and clubs. The places where he used to have fun for hours now felt meaningless. Then, he went to meet the police officer he had dragged with his car and taken to the hospital. He apologized for his mistake and gifted the officer his luxury car. The officer stood there stunned and happy while Grisha quietly walked away. One evening, when Grisha was at a club, he spotted Alexei and Aglaya. He quickly went to them and asked about Lisa, but Alexei and Aglaya pretended they had never seen Grisha before. This made Grisha believe that everything he experienced must have been a dream he saw while in a coma. He apologized and began to leave, but seeing his broken state, both of them stopped him and told him everything. After this, they took him to a horse shelter. Grisha rushed inside, and finally he saw Lisa. Lisa was shocked to see him, and her heartbeat quickened. Grisha asked her if everything she had said in the village was true. Lisa nodded yes and kissed him. Later, Grisha brought Lisa with him to his dad and Anya's wedding. He congratulated them, hugged his father, and thanked him for everything he had endured to make Grisha a better person. He knew he would never forget that. In the final scene, another spoiled rich boy was shown being dragged and beaten, being taken toward the gallows. And once again, everything was just a staged act. This time, the village landlord was Grisha himself. And with that, the story came to an end. Friends, I truly hope you enjoyed this story. Let's take a look at the different kinds of women a father involves in order to reform his son.